r/askreddit. What illegal things are so common they seem illegal? In the state of Victoria in Australia, it was illegal, until recently I believe, to change your own light bulb, unless you're an electrician. It was one of those old laws that made sense at the time, but seems ridiculous now. Edit. Okay, I guess it is still illegal. I must have googled an unreliable source. In the UK it's illegal to be drunk in a pub. Section 12 of the 1872 Licensing Act stipulates that every person found drunk on any licensed premises shall be liable to a penalty. In France, it's illegal to be in a public place, street, garden, etc. with less than 0.98 euros in your pocket. It's called vagrancy. Hanging things from the rear view mirror. I'm a lazy piece of crap, so I just kept adding air fresheners onto my rear view without taking the old ones off. Cop didn't give me when he pulled me over, but did make me take them all down. In Sweden, it's forbidden by law to be a criminal. An old law in Seattle, Washington, USA is that people have to call the police department to inform them of the crime you plan to commit. Gotta love stupid laws. Adultery in 20+ states in America. It is illegal to honk a car horn anywhere in New York City for non-emergency situations. The penalty is a $350 fine. Not wearing a helmet while riding your bike, at least in Croatia. Traveling in basketball. Telling employees not to discuss their pay. I didn't know this was a thing until I had told my boss that I thought it was unfair that my coworker who slept and texted on the job was being paid the same as me, and I did double the work. He eventually got fired for not showing up, and I got a raise. Not stopping for pedestrians at crosswalks. Lemonade stands. In a lot of states, it requires a permit to have one. They don't want to arrest every child in the states. Politicians taking bribes or hiring a politician's spouse. In the US, the spouses of many politicians wind up on the board of directors of corporations or foundations. They are suddenly worth a six-figure income from lots of places the moment they arrive in DC. Speeding. I was parent taught for driving, and my parents told me it's okay to be 5 over but not 10 over. I asked a cop when I got pulled over for a broken tail light. He said 65, 75 depending on traffic and weather conditions, but also depending on traffic and weather conditions I could ticket you if you were doing 40 during traffic jam, if it's considered reckless. Driving with dark tinted glass. You see it so much that so many people don't realize that a lot of states have a legal limitation to how dark you can tint them. Cops don't really enforce it, but they can use it as a reason to pull you over if they wanted to. I purchased a car with windows that were already tinted. A few years later, I was pulled over for it. The officer said, "We normally don't pull people over for this, but we just got these new tint testers in." Sending somebody pictures of your private parts without their consent. I think a lot of people don't know it's illegal, but you could actually report it to the police. Edit. At least here in Germany, where I live. It is illegal to die in the Houses of Parliament. Can just imagine an MP dying of a heart attack being dragged out by their legs. Jaywalking. Escort services advertise in the phone book. Hard to imagine drug dealers doing the same thing for very long. It's extremely enforced in Europe, and it actually applies to USA road law. On a multi-lane road, the rightmost lane is for cruising, and the left lanes are for passing only. It's not enforced here, because literally everyone breaks this law, and cops can't do shit about it. That's what I understand about it, anyway. Wage theft. I'll add to that misclassifying employees as independent contractors, or used nearly as often to avoid overtime pay. Misclassifying employees as exempt. Well, in my town the underage usage of marijuana isn't exactly frowned upon anymore. Me and my group often just chill at the park and smoke. The cop fat sack ways down there issued us a very stern warning: you can smoke but none of you are driving until you check with me, and as long as we check in and pass a coherence test we are good to go. IDKY it's Solax. but I'm not complaining. Holding a salmon suspiciously. Us Brits have the best laws. Section 32 of the Act is headed Handling Salmon in Suspicious Circumstances. 2. This section creates an offence in England and Wales for any person who receives or disposes of any salmon in circumstances where they believe or could reasonably believe that the salmon has been illegally fished. The maximum penalty is 2 years imprisonment. Essentially, this is a provision aimed at reducing salmon poaching by making the handling of poached salmon a criminal offence. Section 22 introduces a parallel provision into Scottish law. This offence is often cited, without its context, in lists of quirky or absurd laws, often alongside archaic or downright mythical laws. It's pretty common around where I live for people to go with the flow of traffic, even if everyone is speeding. I've driven in some areas where pretty much everyone around me was going 75 to 80. People will even argue that cops will not pull you over because it is safer if everyone is just going with the flow. That is not true. They can and will still pull people over. I didn't knew weed was illegal until I was 12 because everyone in my area had some randomly growing in their garden and I just thought nothing of it. Pirate Bay. Technically downloading the torrent file itself isn't illegal as you aren't downloading any copyrighted material. It's when you load that file into a torrenting program that it becomes illegal, and even then it's only illegal when you share/distribute it. So technically, if you blocked all outgoing connections, you technically wouldn't be doing anything illegal. Although I don't think the courts would see it that way. Edit. Jeebus, this blew up. I'm not going to debate with people responding on the intricacies of the legality of torrenting. There are legal torrents, Linux distros, etc. And there are illegal torrents, movies, software, etc. Laws and fines depend on one's country. That's about it. Watching porn before you're 18. It's not illegal though. Age restriction are there because it's illegal to distribute porn to persons under the age of 18. Actually viewing porn while under 18 is not illegal, depending on where you live, of course. Here in California, when you make a right turn, you have to turn your own lane closest to you. You cannot swing out into the middle or left lane. Also, you cannot change lanes in an intersection. Edit. You can change lanes in an intersection in California. My apologies. Hatch Act violations. Explain please. The Hatch Act forbids federal employees from using their official powers for parties and purposes. Not wearing a helmet while riding a bike. Bike as in bicycle? Here in the Netherlands it's almost frowned upon if you do wear a helmet whilst riding one. Shoplifting. Working retail taught me that everybody everywhere does it. Whether it's a Slim Jim or a ducking TV, people will take it. It's gotten so bad that I see somebody and immediately think, what are you going to take today? Sweet old deaf couple. Thieves. Weird dude that stops by every day just to talk to random employees. Thief. Young couple with newborn sleeping peacefully. The baby is the ringleader of the whole operation. There's an old law in MA, the state I grew up in, that if you ride a horse to school, the school is obligated to stable it for you. During my freshman year of high school, a senior decided to do exactly that. He lived on a horse farm and was an experienced horseback rider, so he showed up one day on a horse with a copy of the old law in his pocket. The horse was tied up in the athletic field all day and all gym classes were held inside. To this day, it's the best senior prank I've ever heard of, let alone seen myself. Minors getting naked on the internet. About 10 years ago, especially the biggest players such as Yahoo buying Tumblr as direct competition to Facebook, targeting the platform to young people, allowing pornography, making it the best porn site in the world for a few years, while having TOS stating 14 as the age you need to be to use the site. Many other platforms operating openly for years, having minors post sexual content or stream sexual content, such as webcam streaming site Stickum, that was active from 2005 to 2013. Big social platforms promoting sexual content from minors, making money from it for years with no restrictions or attempts to monitor the content, somehow ignored by government and media. You have been visited by the doggo of balance. Structure and balance will come to your life, but only if you comment. Balance well doggo. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you tomorrow.